So now we're going to start to make the drawing, and there were a couple mistakes on here, so I'm going to fix them along the way. We need to start off, of course, with a new drawing sheet, and we need to change this into A-size papers. That's under Edit Sheet. So now this is 8.5 by 11. We can print it, but we need to change ANSI large. So let's delete this, and instead in your Drawing Resources folder, go to Title Blocks and choose ANSI A. Just double click. And now we can start to put in the pieces that we need. So go back and search, and we have our 2014 handle. We're going to use 3/4 of the size, and let's show the right view of this so it matches what I have on my document that I shared with you. And let's also put in the base for the head. And here this is going to be tricky because what I'm interested in is the little notch that's at the top of this, but you can't see. So I'm instead going to place it down here off the paper and put the part on the paper that shows the hole. It's trickery. Let's also make this a 1-to-1 ratio, which I can't change with that one. I have to change with this. So you hover until you get the red box, double click, change this to 1-to-1, and we're also going to make this visible with the scale. So that will pop up down here. And instead of view, we're going to put in head. Now let's put in Gavel head. Same thing for this. Let's turn that on so it shows the scale. Instead of view, gavel handle. Anytime you have a circle, you want to make sure you have center points. I'm going to pick these outer ones. If you pick just the inner one, you don't get these little points at the ends. Those are important. So click that. And then let's add our dimensions. So I want to start with our datum here. Give the overall size dimension 2.75. And already that's not going to be enough room. So let's make sure you have plenty of space up above. And continue to dimension. We want to go out to the next one, 1.18. That's not what I had. Let's check. If it doesn't end in a 5 or a 0, it's probably wrong. So here's the actual value is 1.175. I want to take this out to 3 so it shows all of those. And click OK. And let's continue dimensioning. 0.7 looks good. 0.43, that doesn't end in a 5 or a 0, so let's check. 425. There we go. And from here to here is 0.25. Now, I mentioned in class there are some special circumstances where you can show a distance without referencing the datum, and this is one of those. If this is important for something, and you want to make sure the tolerance on this is different, and we're still locating where it is with the 0.425. We're kind of changing the dimension, but we're keeping the datum the same for everything else. This is going to put a tolerance just on this one dimension, and the same thing for this one here. I want to make sure this is going to be 0.4 and this is going to be 0.1. So we're going to leave those like they are. Actually, I'm going to move the 0.4 up and to the side over here, because what I'm about to do with dimensioning this other stuff, it's going to get in the way if I leave it down below. This is a hole, so I can use my hole and thread note here, and wherever you click is where the arrowhead is going to go. So I want to add a couple of things to this. I don't want it to just say the threads that it has. Let's see here. this 5/16 18 UNC to be. I also need to show the depth, so here's my depth symbol, and here's my depth value. So I click on the value, it puts that in for me, and I want that to be drill, and actually the depth value, if I click OK, it comes in as 0.63, and that's not a 5 or a 0, so let's go to precision and tolerance. Let's uncheck global precision and say that the depth needs to go out to the third place. Click OK. 0.625 looks much better. This still isn't everything that I want though, because I want this to be clear for anyone looking at the drawing to know how to make the part. So I'm going to add in a 3/8 160 UNC, Unified National Course, to be tap. So you're going to tap it first. You're going to drill it first using the specifications here, and then tap it using a 3/8 inch tap. Okay, here's something you don't want to do is point this leader line directly at the object. You always want a slight angle. So again, I have to adjust down here because we did this kind of janky like, but tricks of the trade, right? Okay. Now these next few dimensions, these are not as friendly. If we go top to bottom here, you'll see this is 1 inch. This is 0.82. 0.69. These already don't look quite right, do they? And then we have in here 0.88. Okay, so a couple of things. First off, all my numbers are centered up. They run together. So this is not the greatest organization. Secondly, it's very difficult to tell what line goes to what because they're all laid on top of each other. And let's say even if I did get this fixed up, 6.88, it's not a very pretty number, but that's what we called for. 8.2 is supposed to be 8.2. 8.8 is supposed to be 8.75. That's a nice number. And 1 is supposed to be 1. Alright. So even if I did clean all this up and move it out a little bit and stagger the numbers, it's still hard to see. So the easiest way to communicate this information with people is to use leader text. We are going to use the information that I can see here, tell them that it is cylindrical, so I'm going to put in diameter symbol, and then type in the dimension, 1.00. Same thing here. This is going to be our 0.82. So I have to put in the diameter symbol, 0.82. Good. That's a little close. Let's move that out just a wee bit. Leader text. We have diameter, 0.688. We want people to know that this goes back to 1. There's nothing tricky with that. And this last one is our 0.875. We can delete these off because they're not going to be any use to us and they kind of clutter up the drawing. So now it's very clear seeing what diameter goes with what. Okay. Now we get to tackle the gavel handle. Linear dimensions, size dimensions are good to start with, so let's put those on. And I'll fix all those in just a second. We're just going to go to just the start of the knuckle on each of these. Oh, so there I missed. You can take your time with this. I'm trying to go a little quickly just for your sake, in case you already know what you're doing. Here I almost made it too. That was the last one. Okay. We want to show how big the knuckles are. So like for example, here to here, I want to show this is 0.25. And there's just one of those, but these are all going to be 0.2, and this is a typical dimension, so I'm going to put in for text a TYP. I'm going to add in, well, let's go back and fix this. Precision and tolerance is supposed to be a 2.5. The other ones all look good. We have threads. We use our hole in thread note. We want to make a note of this. It's 3A16 UNC 2A, but I need to know the length of this. So if I go and double click on it, maybe, right click, right click and go to text. Okay, and that length is actually 0.40. It's saying how far these threads go. And this is a common way to denote that. Alright, the rest we just have with leader lines or leader text. And you should dimension this and check your own answers. So this should be 0.5. So let's go back to leader text and mark that as 0.5. And there's actually two of those where you'll see that. So I'm going to have 0.5 times 2. And I will double check myself and make sure that this is actually 0.5. And it is. So that's good. I'm going to delete this to take away clutter. Go back to dimensioning again. From here to here is 0.43, and all of these should be 0.43, which is actually 0.425. So let's dimension just one of them with the leader text. And we want to put in the diameter symbol, 0.4125 or 0.425. And there's 4 of those, so times 4. And this inside part here, from this point to this point, is actually 0.35. So let's add a leader text to that as well. Diameter symbol. And yeah, let's make that times 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, do we have anything that's missing? I'm going to pause. Quick typo, this is supposed to be times 3, because over here, this one was supposed to be different. This is actually 0.43 even. So let's delete that. Let's move this. I may have to do another video, but I'm going to get very close to finishing here. Yep, not going to be avoided. Alright. next video.